informed decision. With that said, I took a look at the legal and corporate structure of what we're looking at here today. I found three entities. I found in Europe, they're using the neobank out of Poland. In the Emirates, they've got the Aurum Investment LLC, and you can see the license number there as well. And then the foundation was established in Hong Kong. Now, we have sent somebody to Hong Kong to check this out. We were disappointed that they didn't have offices there. We thought they had offices there, but they don't. So obviously the registration has come through a lawyer, through an accountancy firm to establish the company. But that's pretty typical in business. Many companies have holding companies in places where they don't actually need a physical office. They do, however, and we've sent lots of people to the Emirates. They've been to the offices. Probably best to make an appointment, I would guess. But the offices are there. The licenses are on the wall in those offices. We've had people from banks in Dubai go over here and check it out. So that's a little bit about the corporate structure. It was quite interesting to see the diversity of the resources they have working in a corporate capacity. For instance, Leonardo's a great gentleman. He's Bryan Benson, the CEO, said that he would have nobody in the world launch the exchange than this man, Leonardo. Leonardo worked at government level in blockchain. He also had his own company. He also worked with Bryan Benson in the Binance days. So a man with a lot of experience. He's from South America. They've got directors of strategy. That's Al Risky. He's based in Asia. They've got Nicholas Kelland. He's from Australia. So right across the different continents. Brent and Tobias, they deal with the big money, the VC money. That's a different category than what we're looking at tonight. But nonetheless, these guys represent Aurum at different blockchain events and conferences. And they have many more guys. Great guy, Shane Moran is dealing with, he's kind of the mix between the field and corporate. He does some fabulous trainings. He's running a 12-week course coming up now, this in the next 3 months. Something I'd highly recommend you get the link to that and listen to an expert like Shane. Shane built a billion-dollar company before. He founded it, and he's a man with experience. We've also recently brought on Bukhari. He's the ex-deputy finance minister from Sierra Leone. We've got Nick Patel. He's the founder of Clink Gold. Clink, C-L-I-N-Q. That's a quite interesting name. Clink Gold. But also, he's the CEO of the Bank of Bullion. And of course, when we talk about bullion, we're talking about gold. And again, you're going to learn about a fabulous gold product that the company's about to roll out in the RWA space. RWA. New people probably don't know what that means, RWA. It stands or abbreviated for real world assets. A very interesting product where customers can acquire 24 karat pure gold bullion as a hedge against inflation, as an asset class, which is a reputation for thousands and thousands of years. Gold is better than currency. Currency is what you think is money. Most people say, if I said to you, hey, have you any money? And you go, yeah, hold on, let me check. Yeah, I have $20. No, I asked you, had you any money? Yeah, I have $20. I have 20 euro. No, I asked, did you have money? But is this not money? No. Since 1971, what you have in your pocket is not money. What you hold in the bank is not money. That's a thing called currency. Your currency doesn't work in my country. My currency doesn't work in yours. So it's not money. But gold is. Gold is the real money. And before money was able to be produced, it had to be backed by gold in the vault. The government and the central banks had to have enough gold in the vault before it could print the equivalent value in paper currency. However, that was broken in 1971. And since that, it's created all kinds of problems with inflation, deflation, etc. I'm not here to give you any financial education. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do understand money. And this company is going to launch a fabulous product where 50% of your contribution goes to physical metal and 50% goes to an algorithm that trades gold, yes, gold, against the dollar. So you can make lots of money there, whilst the gold is your protection. Gold is the hedge, physical gold that you can actually, after a period of time, take that back to your home or to your home office. So this is all coming up very, very soon. The ecosystem is growing enormously. They're very, very, very positive results I'm seeing here. But the man of the moment, the man of 2025, and now what we hope to be the man of 2026. He certainly was the man of 2025. But Bryan Benson Started off after he left university, he went into the banking world. He worked for a very reputable bank called Morgan Stanley in the United States. He is a US citizen, Bryan Benson, which is quite interesting. But when he moved out of the banking world, he went into what we call Web3, blockchain. And he started getting very, very interested in that subject. He became quite an expert in it. And he was hired by Binance. Now, Binance is probably the best known crypto platform on the planet, probably the biggest, I'm not sure. But nonetheless, Bryan Benson held the managing director role. Now, what does that mean? He was managing director for LATAM. What does LATAM mean? LATAM is kind of an abbreviation for an area known as Latin America, LATAM. And that would include Central America and South America. So everybody from like Argentina, Chile, Brazil down at the bottom, all the way up through those countries, Peru, Colombia, all the way right up through Central America into Mexico, right on the US border. This is the man that opened all of those markets. This is the man that brought 20%, up to 20% of Binance's entire revenue came from this man's operations. Now, Binance went from zero to $1 billion in 6 months, beating Microsoft, beating Apple, beating Tesla. This man, along with the founders of Binance, created what's known as a unicorn company, just something that came out of nowhere and became this monstrous large company. And that tells me the man we're talking about, the CEO of Aurum, has experience, no doubt. And he has the connections. So that's a little bit about the man himself. If you Google him, you'll find him everywhere. This is great news. There's images when he's much younger. There's images as he appears today. So that's very positive. We're not dealing with some kind of actor. There's history here, which is important. We then learned that Forbes has written positively about this opportunity more than once. Forbes is a reputable media company, I would assume. They create the rich lists, and they can't create those rich lists without doing a lot of research, without doing a lot of data pool to get the rich lists correct. They interview the top CEOs, but here they're talking about Aurum in a very, very positive light. And in fact, at one point, they invited Mr. Bryan Benson to the Forbes Council. Now, this is an accolade. This is recognition. Forbes, knowing that Bryan Benson is an expert in his field, they appreciate his wisdom and have invited him to the Forbes Council. I think there's a whole page on him over there. Now, the next thing that was quite interesting was when we learned that they have some kind of contract or relationship with Visa stroke MasterCard. We saw Visa cards with the Aurum name on it. That's called co-branding. Very difficult to co-brand any company with Visa or MasterCard. Obviously, Visa and MasterCard have to dig deep to make sure they're partnering with something honest, something reliable. And you would assume they've done their due diligence if they're going to allow Aurum to have their name on their Visa card. I dug down and found out the bank behind this. It is a regulated licensed bank, so that's all good news. And you would assume they would know Bryan Benson, or certainly about him and the directors. That you would assume they've asked for maybe last year's accounts. I don't know. And certainly any licenses required to operate something like this. But this has been around for quite a while. In fact, I've met customers that are using this as far back as June 2025, and quite a good product there. Beyond that, Bryan Benson has traveled the world, building his brand. I call it strutting his stuff. He's out there building that Aurum brand. He's speaking at every convention around the world related to blockchain. This is the biggest one, called 2049. This is where 25,000 people showed up. Now that's almost, I mean, I laugh at this. On the last day of this conference, they were charging $1,400 to get in. Now, I like the Rolling Stones, but I don't think I'd pay $1,400. I'd pay $300. I'd pay $400. Would I pay $500? Maybe if I got a real frontline seat or something, but $1,400 to see this guy. Wow. It tells you that he is an expert. It tells you that it's a very interesting arena. And it also tells me, I believe, that Aurum are happy to place themselves in an arena of experts, because look who else is here. Richard Teng. Actually, he's a friend of Bryan's. Richard is the CEO of Binance. Justin Sun was the creator of Tron Network. You've got Tether here. I mean, everybody who was everybody was at this event. And who was on stage? You got it, Mr. Bryan Benson. So a man with knowledge, a man with expertise, a man with recognized globally In fact, at the Finance Week in the Emirates between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, this man was speaking at many conventions. He's interviewed, as I said, by Forbes, by Cointelegraph, Benzingo, Global Newswire, and many, many more. He's interviewed regularly. There's lots of interviews with him. In this occasion here at Wendy O, a popular, what you would call social media influencer, she interviewed him. And I think part of your due diligence might be go listen to the questions this lady asks. And more importantly, listen to Mr. Bryan Benson's answers. And that's what I did. And I just found it quite a good interview. And there's many, 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 many more. And here we have him again on stage in a panel of experts. And who is sitting with Bryan Benson? Here's Bryan second from the right-hand side. Look, Sebastian, the co-founder of Sandbox, is right next to Bryan. And who's next to him? You've got Anton, who is the co-founder of 1inch. And of course, we have to give AJ a little bit of chat there. He is the founder of EasyFlow, but these are major blockchain platforms. And to have Bryan Benson selected on this panel of experts goes some way to telling us this man has the ammunition. This man has the knowledge. This man has the capability of pulling off something as he's willing to do here. And then he was invited to the Satoshi Roundtable, another big accolade, private invitation only. Anybody who's anybody, the future of blockchain, the future of Web3, the future of DeFi is all conducted at this Satoshi Roundtable. The media are not even allowed into this one. That's where the futures of fintech and everything else is rolled out for the years ahead. And then again, to top it all off, we have him here with his arm around the billionaire himself. Yes, this is Bryan Benson and the founder of Binance, none other than CZ, very famous man. That all said, I wanted to look at their licenses or registrations. I found this company registration out of the Hong Kong. As I previously said, we sent somebody here to check out offices, but they were not at this registered address. That wasn't a red flag for me, really. They don't have to do business there to have and establish a company. I think that might be what you call a, what's the name? I think I used it earlier. Holding company, possibly, but that's the Aurum Foundation Limited. Then what was quite comforting was to see that the government of Dubai have issued them a commercial license. And of course, we've sent many people to the Dubai office where they do conduct their business. So that's a little bit about the company. Moving on from that, the next subject I want to talk about is some of the products that they're rolling out. This product here, I was able to test myself on 2 occasions. Worked perfectly well. The one I saw didn't look like this now. It was not as nice as that. That looks quite attractive, quite nice. The one I saw was more like the ones we see in the shop today, a bigger one, probably the prototype. And I hit my card on it, and the Aurum came up on my bank statement. I saw the whole thing working. But what's so good about this? Well, this machine takes not just Visa and MasterCard. This machine also has the capability of accepting crypto payments. And for any business that wants to maybe increase its customer share, let's suggest you had a coffee shop and you were able to put outside your coffee shop a sign that said, hey, have a coffee, but we also accept cryptocurrency payments. Well, any of these kids that are running around with this crypto stuff and they see, hey, we accept crypto payments, that's likely where they'll go and have a coffee. So it can actually improve and help sales in a business. Beyond that, what it also can do is it can settle payments faster than the old banking machine known as Visa and MasterCard. Visa and MasterCard are quite an old banking rails for many, many years. Very reliable, very trustworthy, but they're slow, they're antiquated. A lot of people behind it. Blockchain removes a lot of that and speeds things up. So let's say you had a coffee and you paid for it with your Visa card. The shopkeeper doesn't have the money. Visa have it. So the shopkeeper hasn't got paid even though you paid. And Visa could maybe pay them at the end of the month or something. But with this machine on the blockchain, we can settle payments within 24 hours, maybe up to 72 hours. So cash flow for business is king. So this can speed up cash flow. It can help them introduce new customers, and it can reduce fees, because a lot of businesses are burdened with not just traditional overheads, but even banking overheads, fees. And maybe you have a coffee, but MasterCard took 5% off it. Or you bought something and the Visa took 5% off the sale to give you the flexibility to use the machine. But here, They can reduce costs because of blockchain. And that's, again, a great benefit for shopkeepers. Now, what's in it for you? Well, they're designing software. They refer to it as micro payments. And what it means, I think, is that your digital wallet would be entered into the machine, and every time this machine is used in a shop, your account gets paid. Now, why would that happen? It's because you would introduce the shop to this technology. So if you have a friend or a business or a relative that has a business, and you ask them to try this machine, you're the referral agent, and your wallet address goes into this machine. And on the blockchain payments, there's a little micro payment hits you every time the machine is used. So that's what might be in it for somebody like you. So looking forward to seeing that in its full glory. They're also developing ATM machines, which is quite interesting. They've also launched for public beta testing this exchange. What's interesting about the exchange is Bryan Benson has agreed to offer 50% of the commissions back to the community. Now that's really cool. I think this, when it perfectly launches into full launch, I think it's going to attract a lot of business, because imagine the business that Binance does today. Like, think about it. How much did Binance make last year? And now think about it. How did they make all of that money? From transaction fees, yeah? What if Binance gave back 50% of their wealth to the customer? Is that likely to happen? No. They've got off. they got off on the right foot. They're away, flying, doing great things. But to be competitive, Bryan Benson is going to offer 50%. Imagine you had a coffee and you got 50% of your money back, or bought a vehicle and got 50% back, or bought anything and got 50% back. So 50% of the commissions is going to be rewarded back to the community that helped develop this exchange. So I think that's a really cool idea. They've also got this liquidity staking product up and running already, guys. By the way, that exchange was in public beta testing from November 25. So there are customers out there already using that system. And as well as that, they have this great product which offers 17 to 20% a year on your money. Now, I don't think anybody on this call could find me any bank in the world that would offer 17 to 20% a year on your money. You're more likely to get 1% or 2% of anything in a year. But 17 to 20% is very, very attractive. And the good news is that it's paid daily. So let's say you had a little bit of USDT sitting on a wallet or on an exchange doing nothing for you. On this exchange, it gives you free USDT every day. It adds to your account every day. And you can take all or any or part of your money back out of the system any day you want. So it's not locked in for a period of time. It is a staking product without lock-in, with immediate liquidity. So that's a really, really, really cool product. That's better than any bank. It's better than real estate. Real estate would very often offer you maybe 5 to 10% a year. 17 to 20%, I think that's quite sensational. I may have mentioned this a little bit earlier when we talked about the ex-deputy finance minister from Sierra Leone alongside Nick Patel. They've partnered up. They've put some hefty deposits into the Aurum business, and now they're going to launch a phenomenal product. There you can see Clink Gold. I definitely mentioned that. And this is going to be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to see how this works, because gold, I think, gold is God's money. Gold is great. You know, when you win the Olympics, you get what kind of medal? Yeah, a gold medal. You know, silence is gold, and you know, everything is gold. She's good as gold. Gold is special, and to see the company moving towards this type of product, I think it's a great development of the ecosystem. They're also going to do real estate, and I believe they're getting involved in data centers, because data is a big product now today. Now let's give you some bad news. Here's the bad news. This is not going to be for free. It's going to cost you $20 a year. Actually, just a little bit less. It's $19.99. Now, I didn't like this when I heard about it. It's going to cost $20. Well, why would you charge people? So I didn't like it. However, when I was reminded, people pay a subscription for the golf course, they pay a subscription for the gym, and the gym fee allows you to use all the products there, the running machines, the rowing machines, the sauna, the steam room. But here, for $20, you can use the Aurum products, as much or as little of when you wish. So we've looked at physical products like the Visa card, gold, ATM machines, point of sale terminals. Let's look at some digital products now that are also available. I'm told this is their best product. This is the most popular, certainly. It's called the EXI bot. This one was established 3 years ago, back in January, the 11th of January, 2023, when the first deposit was made to this. It's done phenomenally well over those 3 years. The first year in 23 was a little bit rocky, but nonetheless profitable. And when I mean rocky, there was months where it was doing 9%, and then the next month it would jump up to 18%, and then the next month it was back down to 12%, then up to 15%. So it was kind of like that, but positive nonetheless. But subsequent years like 2024, 2025, and even this year so far, it's been much smoother, much more, what's the word, consistent, I've found. So I had a look at all of their results. Here's 2025's on the screen. You can see yourself 15%, 17, 17, 17, 17, 16, 17, 18, 18, 17, 17. So on average, this particular product revealing profits of around, on average, about 17.5% a month. Now, don't get excited. That's not for you. It's not for me. That's what the entire fund is generating. What you might get would be determined by your own account. So my understanding is you can download, or you will be able to download from Apple Pay and Apple Store and Google Store, Play Store. You'll be able to download an app. I think the Play Store's already there. The Apple one's waiting for final approvals. But you'll be able to download an app there, a banking app or a neobank app, it's called. And inside that account, you'll have 7 or 8 or 9 wallets. You'll have your own USDT wallet, your own Bitcoin wallet, your own Ethereum wallet. And as you fund your own account, you can assign it towards some of these products if you wish. Now, you don't have to do this. You can use the card. There's no trading involved there. You can use the exchange. You can use any of those products. But if you wanted to use this product, here's how it works. Let's say you wanted to try, I'll pick a number between $150. Well, that's going to fall into the basic category. Those accounts are enjoying benefits to the tune of about 10% a month. When I say about 10%, I mean it's not fixed. It's trading. It's past performance. It's not indicative of future results, but these results are based on what it's done up to date. So about 10% a month, I think, is phenomenal. I think that beats real estate. It even beats gold, and I love gold. But that's what these customers are getting, about 10% a month. For those of you that can do more than that, let's say you were able to do, say, $300 or $702 or $904. There's no particular amount. It just depends what you'd like to lodge in your own account. But in these ranges, you'll see within these thresholds, you can see the percentage they're offering. So this is 11% for those clients. For customers that can do between 1 and 2,500, they're getting 12. For those that can do between 2,500 and 5,000, they're getting 13. You can see yourself as the table goes. The larger the deposit, obviously, the better the potential reward for those accounts. Now, as I said, I couldn't understand this. How can they pay this out and the company remain solid? That was my concern. How does the company make money? And I was reminded that the answer's on the screen. Now, this has been taken from the Aurum website. I was able to pull that down from the website. And the answer is, if the account is doing on as a whole 17.5% on average, and let's suggest your account was doing 10%, well, the company makes the difference. I think they call it the spread. The company's making 7% on those accounts. And think about it. Where would most accounts be? Do you think people will have $50,000 plus in their accounts, or down in the bottom range here between 100 and 5,000? I think the majority of customers will fall into the lower categories. And therefore, in these lower categories, this is where the company makes its most. So they're getting 7% on these accounts. They're getting 6% on the 11% accounts. When customers are getting 12, they're still making 5%. So I can see here in every instance, the company's always taking a positive slant on it. And I think that's important for the longevity of anything. The company also it has to be win-win for everybody. My next question around this was, can you take these profits out? And I was told, yes, absolutely. And I went, when? When can you take them out? I want to know, do you have to leave them for any period of time? And the answer was no, you can take out your profit anytime you wish. And I said, can I take it out every day if I wish? They said, absolutely. The next question I had was, what do you guys charge for the removing of your profit. I mean, to take the money out, what do you charge? Because I've heard there's platforms charging like up to 10%, which is crazy numbers. Well, these guys are charging 1%. And I thought that was very, very, very fair. So that was some of the questions I had around that product. I've been able to get my hands on 2 accounts to share with you. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just here sharing some information for education and training purposes. This account here, you can see, was created. See the word created the 17th of April in 2025. Now, the account was funded with $500, but in the deposit range here, it says 882. So what happened? Well, the AI, a bit like when you go to ChatGPT and you type in something, the AI can bring you the results very, very, very fast. Here, this account has gone from 500 to 6 to 7 to $882. It's actually made $382 profit. So my question was, how long did it take to bring this $500 deposit up to 882? I wanted to know what was the period of time. And again, the answer's on the screen. Have a look in the bottom right-hand corner. It says the 17th of September. Well, if we started this account on the 17th of April, and we're now looking at a timestamp, the 17th of September, we'd be looking at a 5-month track record here. And in those 5 months, this account mathematically has done 76%. What do I mean by mathematically? I remember from school, to work out the percentage, you take the profit, which is 382, and you put it on top of the deposit, which was 500. And then you divide this bottom number into the top number, the 500 into the 382 profit. And that tells you the percentage. And there we have it. It's 76% in 5 months. Now, when I try to put that into real terms, imagine you bought a property for $100,000 on the 17th of April last year. And imagine you sold that property on the 17th of September, just 5 months after you bought it, for $176,000. That's the same math. This account did 76%, which I think is astonishing for a small account at 500. Bearing in mind, customers can start a whole lot less than 500, but just that's the only example I was given. I then wanted to see a larger account, and this larger account, which I can share with you again, it started on the 10th of April, 2025. So when we look at the arrow pointing here inside this oval shape, this account was started on the 10th of April, and it was funded with $10,000. However, it's made $2,360 profit. And if we look at the timestamp down here, we're talking about the 16th of May. Now let's calculate it. It started on the 10th of April, and we're looking at the 16th of May. 10th of April to 10th of May is 1 month, and 10th of May to 16th of May is 6 days. This data is reporting 1 month and 6 days. Allow me to round that up. Just for educational purposes, that's about 6 weeks. No, that's 5 weeks. 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, this account has gone from 10,000 to 12,360. Guys, that's 23% in 5 weeks. After 10 weeks, the same account started on the 10th of April, jumped up to 15,500 in profits. Now, it's not 15,500 profits. The customer put in $10,000. So the profit element is 5,500. After 12 weeks, this account grew to $17,500. And after 4 months, this account showed 100%, 103%. That means the $10,000 is no longer $10,000. It's sitting at $20,000 in 4 months. Now imagine buying a property for $100,000 and 4 months later selling it for $200,000. That's good business. Very difficult to do in the real world. Very difficult to do in real estate. Very difficult to do in any industry. But with AI and fintech, this is what Bryan Benson talks about. AI and fintech coming together. These results are real results from a customer account, not from the company, from the customer's account. Now, this account has done well. I mean, you might say, well, how can it make all of this money? And that was actually the same question I have. How can it make so much money in such a short time frame? Well, if we look at this website called CoinMarketCap, this is a third-party website, very well trusted. I call it an aggregating website, an aggregator. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say Bitcoin is on Binance Exchange for $74,000, just as a hypothetical number, $74,000. On another exchange, it might be 74,300. And on a different exchange, it might be 73,900. So on the different exchanges, there's a variance, there's a different amount, the trading price. So what this site does, it pulls all the websites together and said the average price of Bitcoin actually is 73.7, so it kind of works it out like that. So when we look at some of these coins for 24 hours, this is one day, 24 hours, this one did 2,000% in one day. We just looked at something that did 100%, 20 times less than this in 4 months. When we look at Elevate, it did 800% in one day. When we look at Pepe Trump, it did 400%, 423% in one day. The account we just looked at did 23% in was it 5 weeks or 5 days? 5 weeks. It did 23%. This is one day. So when you see these kind of numbers and you see cryptocurrency, you've got to say, like, cryptocurrency is volatile. Cryptocurrency, there's lots of warnings on these cryptocurrency things. If you go to any of these websites, it said, be careful, this crypto is quite volatile. But my understanding is that this is how they make money. Whether it's going up or down, the AI can see these movements and it snipes these little bit of profits. I asked a little bit about the trading. Not that I know anything about trading. I absolutely don't know anything about trading. But I did ask some questions. I wanted to know what type of trading they did. And I was told spot trading. They don't do futures trading. Apparently, that's a risky kind of thing. So they don't do that. They do spot trading. And they told me they have 28 strategies that they use, but not all at the same time on different platforms and different exchanges. So that's a little bit, I suppose it's a whole lot, all I know anyway. That's called the EXI bot. I'm told it's their best product, best performing product. They do have about 8 more of these bots as well. That's just one of them, by the way. And apparently it trades the top 20 pairs on CoinMarketCap. They do have other bots, specific bots that do different things. They've one called the Pro Bot, which only trades Litecoin against the dollar. They've got this thing called the Zeus bot, and it does multiple pairs, but singularly. In other words, it trades Bitcoin against the dollar, Ethereum against the dollar, BNB. So there's specific bots for that. All of these have different rules and regulations around how they perform. They're all quite good, but nothing like the first one we looked at there. But as an overview, I think that's the best I could do in terms of their products to give you an idea. Again, I'm not an expert in this field, so do your own due diligence and do speak to an expert before making any decisions. I want to talk about the card. I thought this was quite unusual as well. This card, I'm told there's going to be 4 of them, but the one they offer at the moment is called the Infinity card. And it's not asking you for your passport. It's not asking you for a driver's license. It's not asking you for a phone bill. It's not asking you for a bank statement. You can get a Visa card without any of this information, which I find strange. It's called no KYC. They don't need to know. So, I mean, who can pull something like that off except Bryan Benson, I suppose? And they allow you to have up to 100,000 a month spending limit. Now, I don't know who needs 100,000 a month, but this is the limit on the card. If you go over 100,000 on it, then they do require passports, driver's licenses, KYC. There would be AML, anti-money laundering, all that kind of stuff. So that does come into play if you go over 100,000. I'm told that 2 of the cards that they're going to release will require KYC and 2 will not require it. But it works on Apple Pay and Google Pay. The physical card is very difficult to get. It's given out at events. There was an event in Dubai recently. They give out 600 of these cards to everybody in the audience could get one. But the virtual version that you can put onto your phone, those, I don't know how to do it. The kids know how to do it, but you double click this button and you go tap. That's available straight away. You can get one of these cards tonight. You can order it, and within a few minutes, it's on your phone, and then all you have to do is load it. Now, you can import your crypto from anywhere. You don't have to have it here. You don't have to be trading here at all. You don't have to use these products. You can actually bring in your cryptocurrency from Trust Wallet, Exodus, MetaMask. I'm trying to think of some of the names of those things. Coinbase, Binance. You can bring your USDT into your Aurum account, and send it straight onto the card. You don't have to do any of the trading products. So you'd actually have a way to spend cryptocurrency through a Visa card with this product. It's quite interesting. So I have two videos to show you. The first one is from a gentleman from the United Kingdom. He's been using this card since June 2025. So have a look at the card right now. You cannot see his name on the card. It's called Aurum Infinity card, and he stopped his trading and pressed top up card, and the money went onto this card, and then he went down to the shop to try it out to see can he buy milk with cryptocurrency. Let's have a listen.
Here we go then, second official transaction.
Like purple and white. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Mina.
Thank you.
Boom, there you go. Amazing that's just a typical grocery store. You can spend this crypto in it with a Visa card is crazy stuff. And then the next video I have is from an Indian gentleman. He's been using ATM machines to withdraw cash from, and the machine itself will speak in English. It'll have English text on it, but the gentleman himself is speaking in his own Hindi language. But nonetheless, I think you'll understand what's going on here. Have a look at his card and watch him doing this withdrawal.
हेलो दोस्तों, आप मेरे हाथ में ये कार्ड देख रहे होंगे, औरम का वीज़ा कार्ड, और मैं आज इंडिया में पहली बार एटीएम से इससे कैश विड्रॉल करने का प्रोसेस कर रहा हूँ और देखते हैं ये किस तरीके से काम करता है। ये बिल्कुल उसी तरीके से काम कर रहा है जैसे नॉर्मल अकाउंट एटीएम करते हैं, और मैं फ़िलहाल केवल 500 रुपीज़ इसमें से विड्रॉल करने की कोशिश करता हूँ और मैंने ये दबा दिया और ये बोल रहा है कि आप कितना कन्वर्जन के साथ आप किस तरीके से आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, और मैंने इस पर कंटिन्यू कर दिया और ये इसमें कैश विड्रॉल मुझे अवेलेबल करा रहा है, जैसे कि आप देख ही रहे होंगे। और इसने बोला कि आप अपना कार्ड निकाल लीजिएगा। मैंने अपना कार्ड वापस ले लिया और ये मैंने 500 रुपीज़ आज फिलहाल विड्रॉल करके पहली बार ट्राई किया और ये सक्सेसफुल हुआ। थैंक यू।
There you go. And we've been speaking to people that went on these cruises, and they stopped off in France and Italy and Spain and Greece, and they were using these cards all over the place. Now, I did say they're hard to get. You can get them with appointment at the offices. If you're ever in the district of the office, you can pick them up there. If you attend their events or qualify for their events, they can hand them out there. But that's the physical card. You don't necessarily need the physical card because the virtual version works. So it's still a great product. You get 2 for 1. You get the virtual card, and then as a bonus, when you get your hands on the physical card, you've got another card. So quite interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. That's the little overview I wanted to give you. It's I hope you've see some value in it. I hope it helps or assists you some way towards doing your further due diligence, getting your questions answered, and of course, I hope the decision you come up to is the right one for you and for your family. With that said, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye. Hey guys.